else, I'm going to call the meeting to order. I'm going to do roll call. Counselor Manager?
Yes.
Counselor Shear?
Here.
Municipal Services Director? Chris?
Here.
Finance Director? Coralie? CAO? I'm going to say the mean one. Tyler? The Executive Assistant, Taylor? Counselor Joan Ross? Here. Counselor Deputy Warden Matthew Ross?
Here.
Okay, and I'm here. I got all the policy guidance. And I'll read their mission statement. To provide, promote, or facilitate municipal services that meet the community needs by preserving, supporting, and enhancing quality of life for all. The next is the approval of the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions?
Yeah, there is a deletion. So our presenter wasn't able to make it in tonight because of the weather, so we're going to reschedule him to a different
Okay.
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second that motion. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Is there any disclosure of conflict of interest for any of the items on the agenda?
I will have to leave for business item 4.3.
Free ridership for special event?
Nope, Digby's fishing game. 4.3.
Oh, sorry. I went 3.4. Sorry about that. I got it. Okay. The minutes of November the 25th, 2025. Did anyone see any errors or omissions that they want to bring forward?
I'll move the approval of the minutes of November 25th.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
Peter? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the CAO report. Meeting dates. February the 3rd, you have the Nova Scotia Works at 5 p.m. Public Works. 6 p.m. we have bylaw and policy. On February the 10th, Committee of the Whole. On February the 11th to 6th, Joint Council meeting. On February 17th, we have no meeting. On February the 24th, we will have a council meeting, 5. On March 3rd at 5, bylaw and policy. March 10th, Committee of the Whole. March 17th, no meeting. And on March 24th at 5, council. Now, capital projects. Is there any questions or concerns in the CAO report? No questions? There's no action items. Financial report, November and December 2025. Is there any questions or concerns for Coralie? Oh, I guess not. Could I just want to approve the CAO report, please?
Motion to approve file the CAO report.
Is there a seconder? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Standing committee items, bylaw and policy recommendations, emergency management bylaw number 2026-01, and we're asking that council approve the second reading of the emergency management bylaw.
I'll move the council approve second reading of the emergency management bylaw number 2026-01 as presented.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Any concerns or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. This is all from the bylaw and policy. The tax exemption bylaw number 2002-02. There are going to be 4 motions. So would someone like to start? And the first one is for the 16 Back Street, Weymouth property.
I'll move the council approve the addition of property number 03392-384, 16 Back Street, Weymouth, under the property tax exemption bylaw number 2002-02.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Any concerns or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next motion.
I'll move that council approve the name change for the property number 105-92781 from Weymouth Falls Community Center to Langford Heritage Community Council under the property tax exemption bylaw 2002-02.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next one.
Move the council approve the second
The name change.
Second reading. Yep.
second reading of the property tax exemption bylaw number 2002-02 as presented.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion
So I'm
carried.
just picking up on this. I picked up on it on the emergency management as well. So it was actually first readings for each one. That's why Matt has a confused face, look on his
Okay.
face. So I would just amend that motion to be first reading.
Is everyone comfortable with the amendment? With
Yeah.
the mover and seconder? And mover and seconder? For the first readings?
Yep.
Yeah.
And is there a fourth one?
The name change.
We did the name change.
Oh, there's a
property.
different,
Two
different
property.
properties.
Okay. I move the council approve the name change of property number 105-92798 from Weymouth Falls Community Center to Langford Heritage Community Council under the property tax exemption bylaw number 2002-02.
Is there a second? Sorry. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay. The next is the coastline policy. Number COM-150006.
I'll move the council approve the amended coastline policy number COM-1500-06.
I will second that.
Any concerns? Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the free ridership for special events policy number AD-1000-13.
I'll move the council approve the amended free ridership for special events policy number AD 1000-13.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the computer purchase program policy number AD-1000-03.
I'll move the council repeal the computer purchase program policy number AD-1000-03.
For seconder?
I'll second.
Any questions, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the health and wellness policy number HW-3000-01.
I'll move that council approve the amended health and wellness policy number HW 3000-1.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the meeting room bookings policy, number MP-4500-04.
I'll move the council approve the amended meeting room bookings policy MP-4500-04.
I'll second.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Bear River Board of Trade funding request.
I'll move the council write the letter to the Bear River Board of Trade to let them know that there are insufficient funds in the budget to fund the water stabilization study project this fiscal year, and request additional information regarding the project permissions for future consideration.
I'll second it.
Okay, any questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Number 9, airport fuel.
I'll move that council agree to decommission the airport fuel services at the Digby Municipal Airport.
Is there a seconder?
Seconded.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Next, number 10, PVSC, new builds from natural disasters.
I'll move that council send the topic of new builds from natural disasters to Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities and SFM for consideration of their agenda at the upcoming NSFM Spring Conference.
Is there a
I'll
seconder?
second that.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. I just want to make a comment that our standing committees, these have had meetings and everything has been discussed. This is the formal part of our council meetings. Some people sometimes think,
Yeah, but just
I just want to make sure they understand. The next, under Committee of the Whole recommendations, African History Month proclamation event.
I move the council host and coordinate the African Heritage Month proclamation event at the Jordantown Acaciaville Conway Center of Excellence.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the African Heritage Month Gala.
I'll move that council participate in the African Heritage Month Gala by purchasing a table as discussed, and the council members and staff attend as available.
Is there a
I'll
seconder?
second that.
Now, I am going to make a comment. I had received a call over a week ago saying all the tables have been sold. They were going to get back to us to see if they could find us any seats. I'd asked Bill for a table of 8. And they told me they'd let me know this past Friday, but there's been no school, and so that's why we haven't heard if we have one. Okay. So now all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next, the congratulatory letter to Jessica Pulley for her new position at Tyview Terrace.
I move the council send a congratulatory letter to Jessica Pulley as the new CEO at Tyview Terrace.
I'll second that.
Any questions or concerns?
To the previous the one about the African heritage, if we don't get a table, we don't pay for
Oh, gosh,
it.
no.
I wonder if that's
Okay, no. But we still have to have the motion in case. We can.
That's fine.
All in favor for the letter?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the Fire Services and Remo Coordinator.
I'll move the council make the fire services and Remo coordinator a permanent position.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the Planning Advisory Committee recommendations. The Riparian setback?
Riparian.
Say that again.
Riparian.
Riparian?
I'll move that the 5-meter riparian setback, which is outlined in the municipal planning strategy, be brought forward to council to be added into the land use bylaw.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the wind turbine amendment.
So I realize you guys are clearly a little bit antsy, but if you did want, like Chris can explain each of these motions before you make the point. I know some of you are involved in PAC, but not everybody, right?
Oh, I've gone to the meeting, just so I can't say the words. Go ahead and explain our setback.
So the riparian one is more of an administrative correction. It is pretty much set out in our municipal plan and strategy that there can be no development within 5 meters of a watercourse or wetland. It was overlooked when the land use bylaw was submitted to the province, and so all this is to add that section from our municipal plan and strategy right into our land use bylaw.
Okay.
So that's just from a waterway, 5 meters.
5 meters, you can't build a house within 5 meters, or a shed, or etc.
That's not very far.
It's not very far. Like, is that standard through other municipalities? 5 meters.
Generally, yes. It's important to note that like a septic system still has to be the 100 feet
I'm
away.
just saying a building 5 meters from coastline. Sounds close, but that's what.
Do so at your own risk.
Exactly.
I guess.
There's also some lands that have been sold that are only an acre. And then by the time you put your well in and your septic, then what do? Then you can't build your house, right? So, and I did look into the environment with the province and the provincial regulations. There are no setbacks. You can build it right on the water's edge if you want to.
Yeah.
High water mark, that's where it is.
No, for places like a little stream or a little small river, maybe, but I was thinking like along St. Mary's Bay on this side anyway. You have a big storm, you can lose 4 or 5 meters of coastline.
That'll come with our supposedly coastline protection stuff that we have to figure out.
No, it's different for a little.
It makes it the province would guide some of it, George, because that's how I feel. They're the ones with all the maps.
Something like the Annapolis River river, you get it's winding and slow moving, not a lot of erosion, right? Whereas somewhere like St. Mary's Bay, probably on the Digby neck side, on this side, you can have a lot of erosion. Big storm.
Oh, I agree, but we'd also have to look at hiring a bunch of geologists for the next budget. This could be it might be a thing. I don't know.
Well, I still feel, I'm like you, the coastal should be the province, because every municipality can be different.
Yep.
And we can be different from Clare, we can be different from Annapolis. Not right. The next is the wind turbine amendments. Go ahead, Fred. Oh, first we're gonna move her in seconder.
I think you already did for the repairing.
Did I for the wind turbine?
Another variant turbine.
Not for the turbine.
I didn't think I did.
Oh, you want to get a motion first?
Yeah,
Before?
then we'll discuss it.
I'll move that I move the council approve first reading for the wind turbine amendments as presented at the PAC meeting on September 17th, 2025.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Okay, now, go ahead, Chris.
This is literally just there was a provincial mandate on March 7th, 2025, and this is altering our general land use bylaw as well as our Digby Wellfield protection area secondary land use bylaw to meet those minimum standards set out by the province.
So again, goes back to what you said, George. You talk about the coastline. Here, the province made amendments to our wind turbine setbacks, which we thought were
They're
a
pretty
good standard, and now they're lowered by the province. They walk in, tell us what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it should, you know what I mean? Why can't they do it with coastal protection?
Well, yeah, they wanted to.
Yeah.
It's a matter of will.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what wind turbines? How many more years are our turbines good for?
our turbines. That's a conversation for another day.
Okay.
Just,
It could be a week, and it could be
Could
10
be,
years.
yeah. Good for right now.
so back to these wind turbine amendments here. I in the discussion during the planning and advisory committee, I think we have raised a number of concerns and most importantly, potential ambiguities in the rule. So I'm I'm in favor of first reading to consult the public on this, but I think there's a lot of gaps in the current text that we have to address before we can approve this. Namely, what happens to adjacent properties when you install a wind turbine too close to the edge of the property, right? I think that's the bigger one. But there are other issues there I think we have to clarify.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the land use bylaw amendments, recreational vehicles.
If you don't mind, I believe we'd like to talk about it first before we make a motion.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I noticed I did do that when you were saying that.
And Chris and I will both speak on this. My personal
I'll just give you a little background. The PAC attempted to address the ongoing issue of residents using recreational vehicles, RVs, as permanent dwellings, and how to approach it in a manner that not only protects the municipality but protects our residents. We have a draft amendment here, but I guess our CAO would like to present a few discussions about it.
Yeah, so essentially, I'm going to recommend that we don't approve this motion tonight. So we're not ready to implement the proposed changes. We would be requiring development permits and increasing rules we have no way to currently reasonably enforce. Almost none of the RVs would meet these proposed requirements, and we are setting people up for failure. I point out there's a reason that almost no other municipalities have taken these steps. Clare introduced a new land use bylaw this week, which is essentially what we already have in place. That's the most current example. We should not implement rules we don't intend to enforce, and we don't have a proper plan to enforce these rules right now. Part of the issue is that we don't currently have the staff capacity to enforce them. But another issue is that issuing fines or taking serious action under a land use bylaw is not something that we've done much in the past. So basically we need to research it and develop an understanding of how it would work in these kind of situations, right? What would we do and the processes behind that. So basically we just need time to figure out all the details so we can get this right. So at this point I would recommend that we respond to the PAC that our staff are looking into this matter. And for the current time we would put this proposed change on hold just while we look into essentially the enforcement issue.
Yeah.
Regarding the text itself, is there any concern about it apart from the ability to enforce it?
No, I had one concern about it wasn't explicit about a development permit being needed, so we did talk to Chris Millier about that, and in another section of the land use bylaw to kind of cover that, because I'm a very much like plain language, dumb it down, make it so anybody can understand what they're reading, so they know the rules. But no, the text itself wasn't an issue. It's the enforcement part that we can't currently handle.
And currently, do we have an estimate of what it would take to be able to enforce that if we wanted to combine that?
So we just need time to understand the process. So that's one part. But as far as like staff capacity, we will be talking about that in camera at a later session. We'll be talking about succession planning because obviously there's a long-term plan to hire a bylaw development or bylaw enforcement officer, which will help alleviate some of these issues. But we think that's going to have to be put off for at least another year or two. But we're going to get into that conversation with you guys when we talk succession planning.
Any idea how many of these recreational vehicles will be using as homes in the municipality? From doing their, building inspectors are out doing house checks.
We don't have hard numbers, but every district, I mean, if anybody drives around, you see them. So there's a lot, which is part of the issue, right? So if we're going to create rules that essentially all of them are going to be breaking, we've got to be ready to enforce those rules.
So in the meantime, can we take out the current policy we have now? Because that is the questions we get now, and people are always
The policy that just says they're not allowed.
Yeah, because right now, obviously, they are. The province is allowing it to. People are living on crown land in the area. And
The only thing I would say to that, Matt, is that, or Deputy Warden, is that I think you're sending the wrong message. So if I don't attend PAC meetings, but obviously the consensus was to implement more rules, not less. Clearly, that's why this motion is in front of us. So if we take that out, we're kind of sending the message we're going this way when 6 months from now we could make this motion and be going. So I don't know if we want to send that message because we do plan on enforcing some set of rules. We just got to figure out that part.
part of our hesitation was right now, well, no one's really taken a stab at it. We want to make sure that when we do it right the first time, that it's ironed out and it's exactly where it needs to be before we make an attempt at it. And you don't want to fumble, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's right.
In the meantime, do you think there is any device we could use to assess the number of people living in these conditions in the area? Because I think one of the bigger benefits of this policy was to get a census of how many people are in this situation, or to reach out to province and support and all that.
So that's fair. Yeah, I mean, Chris, we would have to determine which staff would be assigned to that, but we could do some kind of informal in each district to try to get it. Like, is it 10? Is it 50? To try to get some
an
kind
order
of
of magnitude at least.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, because initially with the building department that brought this issue up, and they feel really strong about it, so I think there should be some reporting done. Really get a handle on it, and then find out from Jill's office what's going on, because I know there are some people on Crown Land that there's been no rules for either how they're addressing it. I think it would help us anyway, right? We're trying to figure this out, but it's hard.
So right now,
I would
I
like a
would
motion
make
just to send a
recommend
response
take
letter.
this back to
Just a response to the
Oh,
PC.
so can I have a motion to send a letter back to the PAC with the concerns?
I'll do that. I'll make that.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is the Mount Pleasant map. Chris.
So this one is just another administrative correction. On Schedule A2 of our land use bylaw, it shows Smith Cove, the Smith Cove map. On Schedule A3, the next page over, it says Mount Pleasant, but the Smith Cove map was transferred on to the next page. This is just the administrative correction of that.
I'll move the council approve first reading to update the Mount Pleasant map as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried.
So then the second portion of the PAC recommendations is if we want to get the ball rolling on those three that you moved forward, the way that this all goes about is we need to set a date for a public hearing, which needs to give 14 days notice. Typically we hold it for a committee of the whole meeting around 4:30. It gives the public an opportunity to come in, hear the proposed changes, voice their opinions if they have any. In addition to that, the abundant municipalities, Clare, Annapolis, Town of Digby will need to be informed. The public hearing is held. After the public hearing, the second reading is done. Only council members who attend the public meeting can vote on the second reading. And then from there it goes to council approval, et cetera, to the province. So I guess what I'm trying to say is if we do want to move forward with these three, we can look at setting.
So essentially, we should be looking to be council or committee of the whole. So anything like a month out or more. Typically, what we do in the past to make it easier for council is that we hold a public hearing at 4 o'clock or 4:30. That way, you're already here for a 5 o'clock meeting. If we don't think there's going to be a crowd, typically it's 4:30. If we think there's going to be a crowd or people that show up, it's 4 o'clock. So just look at your schedules. Maybe like there's a February 24th, there's a March 10th, there's a March 24th. Any days you are not available to come in at 4 o'clock.
February 24th works.
Only because I must have happened to me, my surgery.
So you're looking at February 24th. How does that work for everybody else?
This much.
Okay, we'll plan for that.
That I might not, I could be here, it's just I don't know. Business items 4.1, fire inspector.
So I can speak to this one. You guys know that we hired Corey Rice last year, who's currently training to be a level 1 building inspector. He's also been taking fire courses and working with our fire inspector Chris Soto pretty closely. And our building department and Chris Kingston are now very confident that Corey is ready to be a fire inspector. So you don't technically need any certifications or education requirements. Council just appoints the fire inspector. So we're looking for a motion to appoint Corey Rice as a fire inspector. Chris Thibodeau would still also be a fire inspector, so they would go through to do it.
I'll motion to appoint Corey Rice as a fire inspector.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Motion. Pass. Sorry about that. The next is request to council fire reduction AAN 01122-797.
I will make a motion to accept the
Request for property.
request for property assessment for fire damage 01122-797.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second. I'll second.
Oh, sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next will be Digby East Fish and Game letter of support request and
What door's closed?
yeah. Leaves and thing. The fish game has asked us for a letter of support. They have not asked us for any money. What is the feeling, council?
At this point, it's just a letter of support.
That's how I look at it, but I want to hear from everybody.
No, it's a letter of support. I think we should support them, and if they come back later in spring with request for a grant, then we'll look at that then. But a letter of support don't cost us anything.
Okay, so could I have a motion?
I'll move that we send a letter of support from council to the Digby's Fish and Game in support of their barrier-free washroom grant.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. So you want to tell them to come on back? Price is right.
Okay.
Next is under correspondence, response from the MLA, Race Highway 101 Task Force. Does anyone have any comments?
So just on this one, so now we've heard from the MLAs and we've heard from the MP recently as well. There's a couple of municipalities we haven't, so Taylor's going to be reaching out to them. Just even have you discussed it, even if it's that they don't want to take part. My task now is to speak with Nova Scotia Public Works because we got to organize what this meeting looks like. So if we're going to gather all these people, we obviously want to make very good use of that time.
Yeah.
So we need to figure out what's on the agenda, what are we discussing. That'll take a little bit of time. Obviously, the schedule takes some time, so this is probably still a couple months out, but we will make it our priority and do it as quickly as possible.
Perfect.
And it was funny today. Yesterday, it was either yesterday or today. I had a person say to me that they felt the Highway 101 completion was more important than health care. And I said, okay, can you just explain a little bit what you mean? He said, well, he said, buses are stopping, kids are going to get killed one of these times. It's going to cost us more than fixing health care. You're having accidents all the time. People are racing up and down the road. People are afraid to get out of their driveways or afraid to turn into their driveways. You know, and I mean, what he was saying was very true. And he said, in the end, it's going to cost more than healthcare ever thought it was costing.
Yeah.
When we're looking at it in that way.
Yeah.
And I said to him, he said, I still don't understand when they twinned everything else in this province, why we can't get the 101 finished.
No, I know. Be nice to get this going.
And I don't blame. 35 years is a long time.
Mm-hmm. It has been.
So our next is our council district activity reports. Let's start with you, Joe.
I do continue to attend all the regular council and committee meetings as scheduled. Over the course of the winter, I attended several of the local craft shows, the plays and performances and tree lightings in the area that were happening before Christmas. I've continued to work on the bylaws with the data committee, and I took part in an IPAC new professional webinar offered through FCM back in December, I guess. I've been making myself available to the Smiths Cove residents at the Fire Hall coffee every Thursday morning, and I have to say our numbers have been increasing there, which is nice to see. I continue to attend the Bear River Fire Department breakfasts and to support the volunteers at the community soup kitchen. We make soup 1 week every month from the church in Smiths Cove. And most recently, I've spoken with a few Smiths Cove residents regarding the culverts and the roads and that sort of thing, and I will follow up on a couple of derelict property concerns that have been raised. Bear River residents are still raising concerns about Riverview Road holes and the mess on the Smiths Cove side of the Pleasant Street work compared to the work done on the Annapolis side. I've met with the Smiths Cove Fire Chief over some of the concerns that they've had as well. Things are definitely starting to ramp up again as the new year moves forward. I was president of the New Year's levy and at the Bear River Senior Session last week with Don Thomas and the RCM.
You were more than president of the levy. You were on the committee of the levy.
And I will be attending the African Heritage Month launch this week.
Okay. Deputy Warden.
Since last council, I attended the Digby Elementary School's breakfast with Santa and made pancakes. Sat down with council and met MP Christy Altamont to discuss issues in the area. As you said, he told us he was going to be a representative, or he told us he would be here, or a representative from his office would be attending the revitalization of the Highway 101 task force. I attended the ribbon cutting to Gates Lane Bridge in Weymouth, helped Digby's Fish and Game write an accessibility grant to the province to install barrier-free washrooms at the hall, and I've taken lots of calls from residents about well issues, snow plowing, garbage, and assessment increases. Dealing with that stuff.
Good. Okay, I guess we start off with the candlelight dinner at Tideview Terrace about a week and a half before Christmas. It was a visit to the library in Westport with Peter. Me and Peter went over and visited to see what they were doing and plans. The municipal dinner out at the Pines, Electric City grant announcement in Weymouth at the Electric City. Met here with Chris D'Entremont the day after the grant announcement. Invited to a supper by the Southfield Fire Department near the middle of January. Opening of the Gates Lanes Bridge, and then a reception at the Legion following that. Grand opening of the Conway, Jordantown, and Cashville Betterment Center. Attended the Christmas play put on by Hal Terrio and sponsored by the Electric City at their building near Weymouth. And that was about it. Oh, and I missed the levy because of weather conditions.
I assumed you were sick.
No, I don't like driving when the roads are when it's snowing out. There's a little snow on the road, it's fine. Not if it's snowing at the time.
What are you telling us? Peter made it.
I missed it though. I was looking forward to
I
it.
know, because I assumed it was the road. So
Was
you
the
weren't
attendance down? Or? Good crowd?
Actually, we were down a lot.
Yeah.
And, but the people that were there really enjoyed it. And that's what I heard from everybody. It was the roads. People were afraid. And I don't really blame them. All right, Peter.
Yes. So there are some interesting developments in our area there. One of them is what it's been called currently the food enterprise. So it's sort of a placeholder name for something that we'll figure out later. But the idea is to set up a market, discount food market in the Digby and Islands area. It's been led by Tim Long from our team there at the dispatch. And his wife Julie. Really interesting initiative. They received a grant to get some professional consulting on this, and so we have been working with that consultant, formed a little group with the consulting team to sort of figure out how this is going to look like and how we're going to operate this. I think we're going to hear more from this here as the project evolves and they seek out support and other types of contribution there from the municipality. So yeah, that's very interesting. There were a few meetings with the group, and then we brought it out to the community, started some consultation with everyone, getting residents to have their say on what they would like to see and what are their concerns with the current situation. Really interesting insights coming from that. So the next topic of interest there is the discussions in the Freeport Village. So there's that started with that issue of taxes, right? There was one resident there in Freeport who was questioning how the tax structure is currently made, and she called a meeting with the group in the area to discuss what we could do to reduce the tax burden. So it quickly became evident that the villages they have an extra tax burden that comes from the village commission, and so the next question was obviously, is it worth to have a village and to pay for it? Now it's interesting to see how this is developing because there's a big portion of the villagers that are very attached to that village designation, right? But also there's that conscious of, okay, is it really worth it, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to develop. Personally, I don't think it's going to move forward because the emotional attachment to that is probably speaking stronger than that. But I think it will spark at least the new thinking on how the village should play its role in the air. I am personally very much in favor of them, actually. I like the villages. I like the fact that they organize. I like the fact that I can work with the village commission instead of having to work with a lot of different residents. They sort of summarize the concerns, and that makes my life easier. I think the life of the municipality easier as well. The downside of that is they have a huge compliance burden there that takes a lot of tax to finance, and it's in the end of the day, it's the thinking is like it's really worth it to be paying consultants to be paying accountants and insurers, right? Next one is the interaction that I had with Roger Tatlock. This fellow was supposed to be here today. He would be presenting the basic income proposal that came from the NSFM conference. So I attended to his presentation on the issue. I'm particularly not in favor or against it. I just find that the topic is interesting and it's gaining traction. I think we're at the moment where there's a lot of concern about poverty and what AI will do to the job market. A lot of countries, not even richer areas that don't have the same level of unemployment and poverty that we do have in Nova Scotia, are discussing basic income as a way to distribute resources in face of the fact that a lot of the jobs will just be automated away, and and will be paid, and the resources that will go into the job will be concentrated in the people who provide the algorithm. So I would like a better solution to exist, but and I think it's an imperfect solution, but we can discuss this when the man finally gets to present his piece. But I find it's interesting. I think we should be discussing this.
Do you still want that to stay on the joint council agenda for February's meeting?
I think the topic is interesting. We don't need it to be there. We don't need it to be part of a joint council discussion. But we see that there's a lot of other municipalities that are currently approving a motion to request the province and the federal government to study the topic. So maybe we could touch on it and agree on doing this jointly, or maybe not. It doesn't have to be joint, right? So at the time, I proposed the topic as a way to bring it to the table and then let each council decide what to do with it. But at this point, Digby had Roger presenting to them the same presentation that we would have had today. So they are already aware of the topic, and then what they want to do, I'm not aware. So what's next? There was the Western Region Stakeholder Interaction Committee, so discussing harvesting plans in the area. There was a document that when it passed on to me which contained the harvesting plans for the area, the deadlines for public comments, and there was one area in Acacia Valley that has raised some concerns from some residents, so I took that to the platform there and issued a comment there that sort of gives context to whether it's reasonable to log that area or not. And now in that interaction committee meeting, they presented the new system, how it's going to be, what the public consultation is going to look like. They're overhauling it to make it faster and streamlining it. It's not clear yet how it's going to look like, but it will evolve in the next month, and we'll have a better idea. Then next, there was as George mentioned, the visit to the Westport Library, very interesting. I learned some things that I was not aware about that library, and so they now are they're renewing their request for funds, so I gave them some support to how to word that and how to build their ladder, so we're going to be seeing this coming in the next weeks. Also attended a series about agentic AIs in the public service that's organized by APAC as well. Very interesting. A lot of it is basically a vendor sort of presenting what they can do, but it's interesting to see what's there in the market and how we could eventually leverage that here. Other than that, our regular meeting for the health on the islands that we do every 2 months, the Levy, I managed to attend this year. Had the meeting with MP Kristen Tremont, and well, as probably you also all did, fielded some concerns about road safety in winter conditions. That's about it for me.
A lot. I attended the data meeting and Christmas party. I attended Grand Search and Rescue Awards. I attended Cook Social with their awards. I attended the opening of the Jordantown Acaciaville Conway Center of Excellence. I attended the Gates Lane opening. I attended the Beaverford Fireman's Breakfast. I attended the Christmas tea in Weymouth. I attended the Dark Senior Day activities. I attended Nova Scotia Power was here on the 14th, I think it was, and they was there to discuss people's bills and concerns, and I attended. It was really interesting. They were there to answer any individual questions. I attended I came over and we signed for the KTA name change with Meg Hodge and our CAO, and we will be called Title bus service is not King's Transit anymore, or Tidal Transit, I should say. Also, from now on our meetings that I attend, we will be putting Valley Regional Services Board, because it's no longer, this King's Transit is actually going to be gone, but that's what it's called. I attended a virtual meeting on coastal planning support program. We did the New Year's levy, which, as with the weather, did not cooperate with us. But we had our music as usual and a lot of comments. People were pleased with what we put out. And they felt that a levy should be on New Year's Day. That's what they told me, even though it's short. Otherwise, I attended my meetings, like attending concerns with different residents, whether it's the roads or whatever the concern is. And I can understand why people have concerns. They find one day the plow comes through and it's great, and then the next time you wait 12 to 15 hours hoping. So it's like anything else. So on saying that, that covers this. So now we're going to go in camera for contractual and personnel. Oh, yes.
Just before we go in camera, if King's Transit has done a name change, do we need to already revise our free ridership?
It's not going to be official until this coming.
No, and I would argue we might not need to anyway. Like it's more like just to get it correct. I think the intent is still there. We probably don't have to worry about it, but next time we look at it, we probably will.
Good point. So, so I would like someone to move us in camera, please.
Motion to move in camera.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded?